Hello everyone, welcome to Rachel Pichler Yoga. In case we haven't met before, my name is Rachel. Today we're doing a nice full body flow, so find a little bit of space to move and let's get started. So let's begin today in a cross-legged seated position if possible, or you can sit in a different way. But we'll take a few moments to settle in to start. And depending on how you're sitting, you can stay long through your spine, sitting tall. Or you could tip forwards if it is comfortable for you to do that. So you can decide, are you going to stay seated, nice and tall? Are you going to take a little tip forwards or a big tip forwards? And then just close your eyes. Start to relax through your shoulders. Notice how you are feeling in the position that you've placed your body in. Starting to slow down your day. And maybe taking a slower, deeper breath as well. Maybe a few. And if you have your legs crossed, we can cross our legs the other way. So if you're folding forwards, you could lift, uncross your legs, cross them the other way. And then maybe you will stay seated nice and tall again, long through the spine. Maybe it feels good and your hips allow you to take a forward fold. But just enjoying a few more breaths wherever you happen to be. And just settling in. Tuning into the breath. As you let everything else go. If you're folding forwards, you can start to lift up again. If you have your legs crossed, you might uncross them. Give your knees a hug, maybe even a squeeze. You could take a gentle rock side to side if you wanted to do that too. And then when you're ready to find tabletop, we can come onto our hands and knees. Start to flow a little bit more. So spread your fingers out nice and wide. We're going to tuck our toes under. And then lift your knees into downward facing dog. Push into your hands. Send your hips high. Stay for an inhale. And then as you exhale, we're going to come back into our tabletop as gracefully as we can. So no rush, letting the knees touch down. And then inhale and lift your knees right back up. Find that upside down V shape, your downward dog, and then slowly bringing your knees down again. So we're just going to shift from downward dog to tabletop a few times. And you can go at your own pace. You could stay in downward dog. You could stay in tabletop. Or you can flow through both. But coming down maybe one more time into tabletop And then letting an inhale bring you back into downward dog and stay there. Stay in downward dog for a breath. Then use an inhale to gaze forwards. As you exhale, walk your feet to the top of your mat. Once you get there, inhale into a half lift. Lift the chest just halfway up, lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold, bend your knees. Inhale back into your half lift. Maybe lengthen the legs, lengthen the spine for sure though. Exhale, bend your knees, bring your chest down towards them. Inhale back into a half lift. Exhale as you fold forwards. You can move at your own pace here, but with each half lift, a long spine, maybe straightening the legs slightly. And then as you exhale, kind of come into a ball. Bring your chest towards your knees as you bend them. Do another full movement here, half lift and forward fold. And then let an inhale bring you all the way up to standing. Maybe reaching your arms up and looking up as well, but stay standing and let your arms fall to your sides. You can roll your shoulders back and down, and then with a big inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, fold forwards all the way down. Inhale into a half lift. Exhale, we're going to fold. Plant your hands. Take your left foot back. Lower your knee down into a lunge. And then just start to shift your hips back as you straighten the front leg a little bit. Then we're just going to rock forwards back into the lunge. And then your half split. Just kind of shifting the hips forwards and back. At your own pace, you can bring as much length into the right leg as your hamstring allows. You can sink into the hips as much as feels good as well. And then just do one more rock back into your half split. And then find your lunge and stay there. You might tuck your back toes and lift your knee up. But once you're in your lunge, inhale to look forwards a little bit. Exhale, bring your back foot to the top of your mat. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale as you fold, plant your hands, take your right foot back. Your knee can come down. Set up your lunge and then start to shift the weight, the hips, forwards and back a few times. Maybe you're moving with each breath. Maybe you're going a little slower than that. But just flow. Move with ease as much as possible. Lunge to half splits. Back to your lunge. You can do one more full movement. Finding your lunge and staying there. You might pick your knee up if you want. Inhale to gaze forwards a bit. Exhale, your back foot to the top of your mat. Inhale into a half lift. As you exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, let's come all the way up to standing. Reach up, exhale. Let your arms fall to your sides. Stay standing, but move your feet about mat width apart. Turn your toes out. Start to lower down into a squat. You can come as low as you want to go. Take a moment though to find your squat. If your elbows are close to the knees, maybe they can lightly press into them to keep the knees open. Maybe your hands can come together in front of your heart or your chest. Feeling your hips, maybe a lot of heat, love building through the quads, depending on how low you've gone. But just another breath here. Let your shoulders fall from your ears. And then letting an inhale bring you all the way back up to standing. Turn your toes so they're pointing forwards. And inhale to lengthen through the spine. Then as you exhale, we're in a fold forwards. Bring your hands to the ground if you'd like. Maybe bending your knees, kind of lowering the hips a touch, but then you can lift your hips back up and straighten the legs a little bit more too, if it feels good. Your hands might be dangling down towards the ground. Maybe they can touch. Just find the length through the legs, heaviness through the upper body. And then if you can bend your knees as much as you need to plant your hands on your mat. Start to walk your hands forwards a little bit if you've got room, the top half of your mat. Start to walk your feet back too into a downward dog with wide feet. So depending on how close to the top of the mat you were, maybe it was just the feet that was able to move back. But find your downward dog. Maybe with your feet out nice and wide, push into your hands. Send your hips high. Stay for an inhale. The exhale, we're going to lower our knees down. Now your knees might be as wide as your feet, but you can end up in your tabletop. If you'd rather have your knees and your feet hip width apart, move them in a little closer. Just lifting up into down dog and coming down into tabletop with maybe wide knees, wide feet. Now we're trying to flow here. So as gracefully, as smooth as you can make these movements, these transitions, do that. Take your time. Maybe spending a little bit of time in down dog. Spending a little bit of time in tabletop. But do maybe one more lift. We're going to meet in tabletop. Whether your knees are wide or hip width apart, just let them be where they are. But you could untuck your toes, rest on the top of the feet, and then reach your arms out in front for puppy dog, maybe with wide knees. Let the chest come down, the forehead, softening through the shoulders, and slowing down your breath. You can use an inhale to lift back up, walking the hands under the shoulders. If you've got your knees out wide, you may as well slide them back in so that you can cross your ankles and then sit down. Just giving your knees a hug, a squeeze for a moment if you'd like. Maybe even a rock side to side. And then we can start to send our legs out long. Now you can keep a bend through your knees if that helps you stay long and tall through your spine. You might even point your toes up, wake up the ankles. But we're going to lift and lower our chest a few times. We're flowing today. So stay for an inhale, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, you could start to tip forward. And then let the inhale bring you back up. If that movement is too quick, you can hang out at the bottom, you can hang out at the top, and maybe it does feel good to move with each breath. By feeling the length through the legs, trying to lift the upper body off of your low back each time you fold forward. Just a few more moments here. If you like the movement, continue. And if you want to stay in the forward fold or stay seated, then tall, long spine, you can do that too. But the next time you do come back up, stay there with a nice long spine and bend your knees and maybe give them a hug, a rock side to side. We're going to be coming onto our backs. When you're ready to lay down, just find your way onto your back. You can keep your feet planted, your knees bent. You might start to widen the feet a little bit, even the knees, and rock. Flow the knees side to side. Maybe a small movement, maybe a little bit bigger. If you're moving your legs side to side, you can slow it down. And maybe heel toe your feet all the way back together. If you'd like to let your knees fall out wide into a diamond shape. Just relaxing through the hips. Letting your eyes close if they're still open. Starting to wind down the practice. Noticing the breath. And one leg at a time, you can start to send them out long, feet out wide. Same with the arms. Just finding your way into Shavasana. Whatever that is going to look like for you today. Just staying here for as long as you have time for. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, namaste.